But yeah, let's do this video.
Grand Theft Auto 6 has been treated like the second rebirth of gaming since forever. Rockstar knows it, the games media knows it, PlayStation, Xbox, even places like Steam or Nintendo know it too. But what does GTA 6 say about the future? How is this all going to work? It's a lot and it's really messy.
Do you notice how he talks a mile a minute? It's like he's trying to read a script in all in one breath. Like there's no pause or anything.
You see, what worries me the most is that what GTA is setting as a precedent could be a disaster for gaming as a whole, as Games Radar said here. Games will keep getting more expensive.
Oh wow, holy shit. I cannot believe it. Why am I saying that? I really can't believe this. Oh my god, is he actually, is Endymion actually going to actually make a video that talks about a real issue in video games?
After GTA 6 raises the bar, but only the most in-demand games will get away with it, analysts say. Already, the games industry is learning the wrong lessons from GTA 6, and that's what I'm talking about. Games Radar says it here, that GTA 6 and stuff like Mario Kart World are kind of cooking the game's pricing problem. Even Rockstar's Games Radar is
I already said this. What are you saying?
Games out here that are asking for price points I firmly don't believe that they should be. I'll give you a recent example, right? I beat the Adventures of Elliot Millennium Tales from Square Enix. It's an okay game with a lot of problems, but the fact that it was $80 Canadian at release, that stung a lot because the game is not worth the price of admission in my opinion. I think a lot of games are going to cook themselves and doom their own futures simply because they think that, well, GTA 6 did it, so why can't we? It's simple, because you're not GTA 6. That's why. I think variable pricing...
Oh god, he's gonna start dick riding GTAs in here.
When it comes to games is the way forward. Not everything needs to be a fully priced video game. And really the only reason why we're seeing these GTA-like price points being attached to games that have no reason doing it is simple. It's normalization. They want you to become accustomed to it, even if the logistics behind these decisions don't make a lick of sense, which they don't, by the way. Like I said, that Elliot game that I played, if it were $50 Canadian, yeah, that'd be like a fine price for what I played, but $80 for a pixel 2D HD game that also reuses entire levels like it does, you're out of your mind.
God, he's so fucking stupid. This is the same. Endymion was always Canadian. This is the same argument that Legendary Drop said a while ago when me and Noah talked about it, where he's like, Xbox can't release games that cost $80, but look at the quality. It's like you bought the game for $80. They don't care if you like the game. You already bought the game for $80. The game was already a 2D HD pixel game, and you still bought it for $80. What's not clicking up here? What's not clicking up here? The minute you purchase the game, they don't care. If I could sell you this Apple Core, I wrapped it up for $100 and you're like, I'll buy it, and then you're looking, it's like, oh, I can't eat this. I don't care if you can eat this because you knew what this was and you still paid for it. You saw the game. You saw the Millennium Elliot Adventures or whatever. You definitely saw the trailers. You knew it was a 2D pixel game and you still bought it at that price. And yes, Rockstar is normalizing it. That's what I said. Other people are going to do that because for other people, other types of games are their Rockstar. You don't get to decide which game is worth this price or not because you're not the audience. If you love turn-based tactics game and Final Fantasy Tactics comes out and it says $80, you're still probably going to buy it. Even though Final Fantasy may not be your Rockstar. That's what I kept saying in the past. Everyone has their own Rockstar. Everyone has their own GTA. That's why GTA doing it was permission for everyone to do it. No investor, no fucking executive's gonna be like, we can't price it too high because we're not Rockstar. Why would they think that? That's never stopped them before. I don't play Madden or 2K because it shit comes every year. They still charged full price for them. They didn't go, well, we're not offering the same as CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk, so we shouldn't charge the same price. No, because they don't fucking care.
Square wanted that Elliot game to become a franchise, they would
goddamn.
price that game accordingly. Tell me how that Elliot game and something like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth are the same price at release. Yeah.
Also, this guy's argument is you got to pay for graphics. You got to pay for graphics. You got to pay for graphics, you guys.
Looking at those games side by side, you'd be like, how is that even something they thought would be okay? It just feels like companies are going to doom what could be future moneymakers for them because they got too greedy out of the gate. That's the point here. As another analyst said, the new $80 standard will be reserved for only a select few titles and franchises that can command it. And publishers that try to charge $80 on games that don't deliver will likely come to regret that. Exactly this. Like, be serious, guys. Which franchises, in your opinion?
This is also, oh my God. This is like, he's not even honestly making like such a bad point that I think he's dumb. Why I always thought that, but he's not making such a point where I'm like he's bullshitting, but he's not understanding a basic concept here. This is already a thing. When video games cost $70, right? Which is their current / old price, $70 for a video game, right? You still had games coming out for cheaper than that. You still have games that come for $40, $50. There are companies who still do that. It's the companies who were always the ones charging more are going to charge more. Rockstar always charges full price. Nintendo charges full price. Microsoft charges full price. Those games charge full price. Those companies charge full price. They always have. Even games that have flopped, even franchises that no longer exist, charge full price. Saints Row charged full price. Mass Effect charged full price, even though Mass Effect Andromeda was garbage. They still charged you full price. They didn't go, well, our game's shit, we're going to charge you $40. Witcher, CD Projekt Red charges you full price. Those are the publishers, the companies that are always going to charge full price. However, like people are saying in chat, there's people like Electrician 33 or Hollow Knight Silksong or games from like Focus Entertainment, more often than not are mid-level games. They won't charge you full price for a game. There are more budgeted titles. But it's the same tier system here. The main difference now is GTA is saying here's also $100 and we're gonna lock game mechanics that we never locked before behind this $100 paywall. That's where it becomes different. But there's always been you want to buy the big mainstream game. Mainstream game's gonna cost mainstream money. A niche game's gonna cause niche money. That's how it's always been. This argument of like, you're gonna look at this game and tell me how many franchises do you think would charge full price? Fable, Mario, Final Fantasy. He played the two Trails. Anything from Nintendo. I said that already. Any game from Nintendo. Sports game because you guys are gonna play it. Call of Duty. There's a ton of games. Capcom. There's a ton of games. Ton of franchises that can charge full price.
Would you actually pay $80, maybe even $90 at release? GTA?
Elder Scrolls.
Okay, sure. Maybe an Elden Ring too, right? Call of Duty could probably get away with it just due to how loyal that fan base is with that game too. But I guess let me know that in the comments, right? What series would you abandon if they tried to charge you like Rockstar's doing now? In my opinion, for myself, if Square Enix, for example, were to adopt these price points going forward, they're gonna go under. Hell, even if like Borderlands tried to charge these prices, I would be looking at them sideways. Pretty much, unless you're Rockstar or From Software, you gotta back up, stop thinking you can milk people more than you already currently are.
That's so stupid. Again, you can't just be like, unless you're these two publishers I like, don't do it. They're going to do it. They're going to do it.
Analyst said more, which worries me. Here it is. Gaming is increasingly becoming a luxury category. Its economics have historically centered around a winner-takes-most model, and GTA 6 raises the bar again. Publishers who can clear it will pull further ahead, and those who cannot will be to compete on distribution instead, finding new channels, bundles, and pricing models to reach players the blockbusters don't. Exactly. That's the big problem. Gaming should not be a luxury hobby. The entire point of gaming.
You can't say gaming shouldn't be a luxury hobby and then say, but if FromSoft or GTA charged you $100 or exorbitant fee, they should be able to get away with it. Like, God
but
damn.
anybody can get into it if they want to. The barrier to entry should not be where it is today, but it is. For example, the PlayStation 6, which is currently being ready to release in fall 2027, which, yes, that's real, and God help us all if they still do that still, it's going to be very expensive to buy. But how expensive, you may be asking? Well, Vice recently reported via a leaker, as seen here, that the PS6 currently is looking to exceed $1,000 American when it finally releases next year. That's crazy, you're probably thinking. Who but people with loads of money can reasonably then afford the PS6 at launch? Never mind the games. Firstly, you're right to think that way if you did, and secondly, when you look at the logistics, you realize GTA 6, the PS6, all of this future of gaming stuff, yeah, it's definitely then going to become a luxury, all right. As Vice says here, the reason
it's not even then becoming a luxury, it's already become a luxury because of, I really did these reasons. It's because Rockstar and FromSoft are popular enough to do so. Yeah, but you know what's popular to do that? Nintendo. You know what's popular to do that? 2K. You know what's popular to do that? Like Activision Blizzard. Like, the popular companies are the main companies. It's my birthday tonight, and I'm gonna spend listening to you. I'm playing Ghost of You eating pizza. You're gonna spend your birthday listening to me complain about capitalism? I mean, respect. But the point that Endymions failing to make or to realize is this has already been the case. This is already happening. Like, how many games do you guys play or do you know of, right, that are done by big publishers or big development companies? Sony Santa Monica is a huge publisher. So is, and even if you guys don't like them, so is Ubisoft. So is Nintendo. So is, I guess, also PlayStation, because they have own stuff too. So is Xbox. So is a ton of other studios. The mainstream studios are the ones who charge full price. It's the indies, the smaller studios, that typically do not charge full price. So the math doesn't change. If GTA is going to do this, then what's stopping NBA 2K from doing that? I believe someone mentioned that 2K was the first $70 game. What is stopping them from doing this? That's the problem. These people are having they can't navigate this space where they're trying to say, no, my favorite company is good and moral, and they can do that because they're popular, but you can't do that. You can't dictate that. You don't think Capcom is popular? You don't think Capcom could release Monster Hunter for $100 or $80 or $90? You don't think Capcom could do that with their properties that are extremely popular? You don't think Square Enix could do that? We're just talking about Western companies. Square Enix could do that. Fuck, Genshin Impact, MiHoYo could do that. Like, all of these people could do this, and that's what they're failing to understand. This isn't just Western games. But guess what? Bethesda could also do this. Every major studio can do this.
The reason why the PS6 will exceed $1,000 is because the components needed to make the thing in the first place are already exceeding $1,000 per unit just for Sony to make the thing. And
I wonder why that's the case. I wonder what's happening. I wonder what recent creation has caused a massive surge in tech components.
that the price of these components have increased by 31% in just the last 3 months, and that's right now. As I'm making this video, we're halfway through 2026. It's going to be even more expensive, most likely. This means for me, right, over in Canada where I live, as seen here, a new PS5 then, before taxes mind you, is going to cost me roughly $1,419.45, and that's at today's money at this very instance based on the pricing. I would wager when GTA 6 comes out, which will be about $90 for the base version, or close to $100 in Canadian dollars just for like the normal one, I mean. Sony will likely then push the PS6 as the definitive place to play GTA 6, probably, who we kidding. But by the time that PS6 comes out, its pricing might be closer to $2,000 Canadian. I wouldn't even be surprised if that were true. Mind you, when I bought the PS5 back in 2020, it was about $500 or so Canadian. This would mean the next generation of hardware would be 4 times the price it used to be thanks to inflation and taxes for someone like me. Tell me how most people can afford that. They can't. As seen here, currently the PS6 would likely need to be about $1,100 to $1,200 American for Sony just to break even on the thing. This can't keep happening, man. With GTA 6, Rockstar is in the unique position where sure, none of this really matters to them. They can charge whatever they want to and get away with it, but like I keep saying, if anybody tries to ride Rockstar's coattails and mimic what they're doing, nah, you're gonna get cooked, man. Come on already. But as the
No, that's stupid. Stop trying to defend Rockstar here. Stop trying to defend Rockstar. Rockstar is part of the problem. Rockstar is one of the reasons why people are going to be doing this. Like, this is insane cope. This is what we keep talking about. They're too afraid to criticize Rockstar. Rockstar doing this price just because you guys like them is not justification. You guys are doing the work of the investor. Like, they're doing the executives' work for them. They will rationalize why it should and it's good to cost $100, but no one else should do it. It makes no goddamn sense to me. I do not understand this. You are not an investor. Why are you trying? Why are you trying so hard to be like, they can do that, but if anyone else does, they'll be cooked. I promise you, when other people do this, they will not be cooked. They won't be. They won't be cooked. You want to know why? Because Nintendo already released a game for fucking $80 and Nintendo is still here. Mario Kart World was released for $80. Jesus Christ, can I do cost, please? It was already released for $80. They already released this game for $80. GTA is also releasing for $80. It's just the premium edition that's $100. And again, like I said before, the big issue with that is they are putting game mechanics behind that $100 price tag. But games releasing $80 are already a thing. Is Nintendo cooked?
The Hollywood Reporter said here, what GTA 6 is going to do to the games industry is equivalent to a car crash for physical media. I think how they put it in the opening here says it right. If Netflix cooked physical media, Rockstar Games just ran over its carcass, and yep, that's
You can say killed. Like, what are you doing?
pretty much it, all right. There were also some big rumors that GTA 6 would eventually have a physical disc release in 2027, alongside the PS6 as another big push for Sony's hardware, allegedly. And I mean, who are we kidding? People would double dip if they could. But this rumor that
Why is it in Spanish? Dile que solo te mande a matar en tu un tipo que no es culpa tuya.
Rockstar was doing digital only at release to avoid spoilers ended up not being true. As the Hollywood Reporter confirmed here, they were able to verify the authenticity of an email from Rockstar that confirmed 100% that there will not be a physical disc version of GTA 6.
Because why would there have been?
Not ever. It will only ever be a digital release for the future, as they confirmed it right here. So that solidifies it. As Hollywood Reporter said it here, what Rockstar has done is a death sentence for the physical media future, because it is. They said more here. To some degree, Rockstar's decision is understandable in that it is inevitable. The future of gaming will be split between digital purchases and subscription-based downloads cloud access, because the new ways are more secure and much more profitable. Specifically here, Rockstar has to recoup a tremendous investment, and that's going to be the future, since Rockstar has allegedly spent somewhere near $1 to $1.5 billion on GTA 6 in terms of its development costs
Which
alone,
is bad.
making it easily the most expensive game of all time. The goal here is to remove the middleman as much as possible for Rockstar to...
By the way, that's another thing people don't talk about enough. They will always look at the budget. We just saw Wagner Knows Why do this shit, right? They will look at the production costs for these games and then if it's a game they don't like, they'll be like, well, why would you spend all this money on this? They should have budgeted better, etc., etc. Rockstar spent supposedly $1 billion making this game. $1 billion. Like, that's insane. That's insane. But they'll be like, that's fine. They'll justify it.
Recoup and make their money back. Manufacturing discs alone takes up about 5% of your overall profits, which in Rockstar's case, that's a lot of money. Not to mention how game retailers also take 30% of each sale of a game physically when it's sold in their store as well, which Rockstar is clearly wanting to keep more of that to themselves too, and Rockstar will want to do that. Insider Gaming said here, as you can see from their surveys, about 80% of people that they polled on their site are still going to buy the Ultimate Edition of GTA 6, which gives you all the extra outfits and the like in game, which that's not surprising to me at all, honestly. What is surprising
more than that
is not only how GTA 6 is going to nuke the industry when it does drop, but how normalized it's becoming, to reveal just how many people are also being used to make these games happen in the first place. Rockstar has hundreds of employees all over the world working together to create this Grand Theft Auto 6 game. From New York, Lincoln, Toronto, Leeds,
By the way, this is the shit they kill Ubisoft for. This is the same shit they were killing Ubisoft for. Ubisoft had too many companies, it was overly bloated, it had too many studios, too many people, all this shit. Right? But because it's Rockstar, it's fine.
New England, and even India, as seen here. If you quantify just how many developers they have working on this game, in India alone, Rockstar has around 1,600 employees there currently. So when you combine all of these numbers, it means that GTA 6 is basically being made by a town's worth of people just to get this thing out the front door. Those numbers are ridiculous, even by AAA standards. For example, right back in the day, The Witcher 3 was made at CD Projekt Red by around 150 developers, alongside a couple hundred extra workers from testers and localizers and more. That number seems comically high for game development, right? Yet those numbers, they don't even match just the amount of Indian devs on Rockstar alone right now. These numbers are, they're getting ridiculous for AAA, honestly. Like, for example, look at Assassin's Creed Black Flag's remake here. Ubisoft has 15 whole studios within their umbrella that are working
Ubisoft mentioned
remake. 15 whole studios, guys. No wonder they want things to cost more and the price of everything to go up. Because how is that even sustainable? What numbers do you even need to hit sales-wise in order for a game made by thousands of people like that to even become profitable for you? Another game on the chopping.
Wow, he actually made a solid point there. Ironically, that's the point I've always been saying. None of this shit is sustainable. None of this shit is sustainable. But when you start to make excuses for companies, you start to give them leeway and permission. No one should have like 6,000 people working on their game.
Block actually is Star Wars Eclipse, which also ties into this whole thing as well. As seen here from Eurogamer, currently Star Wars Eclipse can't even be finished in its current state because it simply doesn't have enough developers working on it. The reason why is because 115 developers were actually removed from Quantic Dream, the studio behind the game, after another game they were making called Spellcasters Chronicles ended up failing. So Quantic Dream staff, however, believed that they needed those developers back in order to finish and deliver on Star Wars Eclipse on time. Quantic Dream's dev team also had this to say to the press: "It's far from being an act of sabotage. On the contrary, we're trying to save Star Wars Eclipse. We could manage to release it with 115 additional people, and that wouldn't be overstaffed. It's what's needed. We are understaffed, like in many other companies in the sector, because bosses know very well that passion will lead people to crunch time, and that games will eventually be released, but it's impossible to run a sustainable industry like that." And that's the problem, isn't it? I'm bringing up Black Flag and Star Wars in this video because it ties to another problem, which is that this whole way of making games, it's kind of obsolete. It's, as they would say, unsustainable even. GTA 6 effectively has well over 10 times and then some the development team size of The Witcher 3 somehow, which if it were any other game, that would be borderline lunacy to think that a good idea would be to employ that many.
Do you see what I'm talking about though? Do you see how he says that Ubisoft and Quantic Dreams doing all that is unsustainable? It's insane. And then literally goes, if this was anyone else, it'd be insane. But Rockstar doing it is still not sustainable. If one company is the only company that could make a game that cost $1 billion to make, and you had to wait 13 years for it to come out, and you needed 6,000 people to work on it, that is not sustainable. Only one company can do that, and that's a company with multiple studios all across the world. That is not sustainable for an industry. That's what it means by not being sustainable. And Rockstar's employees aren't exactly being treated well right now. So none of this shit is sustainable.
People to make one single game. But the industry obviously has learned all the wrong lessons here, because this is normalized, as the Quantic Dream team just said there, right? Their bosses at these companies.
But again, this is, I know I just paused it twice, but this is why it makes no sense. You can't say the game industry is learning the wrong lessons when the biggest companies are all doing this, because you're bailing them out. You're saying that Rockstar gets to do this. So, okay, so as long as someone gets to approach Rockstar-ish numbers, they're fine. Maybe their game doesn't cost $1 billion to make. Maybe it only cost $400 million to make. But they adopt the Rockstar style of having a bunch of people working at the same time over a long period of time. They're seeing how it works because it worked. That's what they're seeing. They're not taking the wrong message away. Every company is operating the wrong way. Rockstar just has the social and financial capital to keep doing this, but that's still the wrong way.
Companies, they don't care. They'd rather make the developers they do have just crunch even harder as humanly possible to still just make these things happen anyways. Then help them, really, which is why you're seeing so much burnout and institutional knowledge that is leaving games, especially the Western ones, behind. I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh my God. You guys heard that, right?
Just crunch even harder as humanly possible to still just make these things happen anyways. Then help them, really, which is why you're seeing so much burnout and institutional knowledge that is leaving games, especially the Western ones, behind.
So that whole part right there just exposes his grift. Well, not just his. It exposes all of their grifts. Because notice how he didn't say this is the fault of woke. He didn't say it was because of DEI. He didn't say it was because of women in games. He said the reason why you're seeing crunch and all this shit happening and burnout happening, and which by extension means lead to layoffs and what have you, is because of an unsustainable business model. Which he's not saying is driven by capitalism, but an unsustainable business model. So keep that in the back of your mind. The next time you see him or anyone else say the reason why this game failed is because there's women in it and no one wants women in games. No, that's not why it failed. A game can only fail if it doesn't recoup its losses, right? And if these losses are insane due to the structure of the way it should set up, the structure of the company, the structure of the gaming industry, then that explains why lots of games fail. And not just the woke ones, which is what I've always said.
I wouldn't be surprised if Rockstar developers who are veterans actually just end up leaving that studio post GTA 6's release. Not because they don't love the game or the studio, but just because it's unsustainable to live like that and make things like that for so long. Imagining the amount of crunch, the overtime, and more is likely just nuts, but Rockstar doesn't really care. It needs to hit that finish line no matter what. Even if GTA 6 ends up being one of the greatest games ever made, it can still make the gaming industry significantly worse, and that's kind of the point.
God, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but yeah, that's why this is bad. That's why this is bad. Like, he's such a confusing little troll, dude, because I've said this before. It's like he takes the Green Goblin serum that makes him to a grifter And like when he hasn't hit it for a while, his brain fog lifts and he's actually able to see, oh, this is why. Cause you see him do this, right? You say stuff like this, but then you'll also see him like a video or two prior say the most insane, like he'll say like, what? We are not Sony PlayStation's audience anymore, right? He'll say some shit like this.
Now that Summer Games Fest has come and went, you may have noticed something interesting about a lot of games being shown from all the various showcases. It's a lot of games that would normally be exclusive in some way on PlayStation suddenly being on everything else now. So what's going on? Well, it's a lot. For example, Final Fantasy VII Revelation, the finale to Square Enix's remake trilogy, is no longer a PS5 console exclusive. The game is now confirmed, as Open Critic stated here, that the final game is now coming to everything day one, which is a big change since Rebirth and Remake, the previous two games, were PS5 console games to do this as well.
Now, if he's consistent, he will say something along the lines of, because of, capitalism, market forces, or shit costs too much, right? They make their money.
4 is mostly a PlayStation the case.
Okay.
Confirmed here is also coming to everything. 4 revival for years. Code Veronica's The Weir is also not a third party, seems to be releasing as a console exclusive. They want platform like they used to be when it comes to being a compelling platform meant for publishers and studios enough ones to revel in. So what's going on? Why is Sony losing their ability to be a strong enough platform like they used to be when it comes to being a compelling platform meant for publishers and studios to bank their futures
Let's
on?
see it.
Why is everyone leaving Sony PlayStation? The question is all-encompassing. To pinpoint the exact moment that Sony turned towards their path of no longer being a brand that developers could reasonably bank on like they used to, I think it's a few things. So let's get into it. That was a long intro, my god. For one, from Silicon Angle all the way back in 2016, as you can see here, Sony moved their PlayStation headquarters from Tokyo, Japan, all the way to California.
God.
As then president and CEO of Sony, Operations, Sony Interactive Entertainment will become an even stronger. It did, to a certain degree, but also made quite a bit of slop too. A lot of players online will tell you the same thing. It started to change slowly but surely once Sony moved to California, and I think the reasoning was obvious. Sony, I know, is a Japanese company, built upon Japanese values and customs. Wow, who could have guessed it? And California is largely controlled by people who lean politically in such a way that, let's just say, they are constantly trying to push what they think are progressive values.
So do you see what I'm talking about? Right? It's in this video that he put out 2 days ago, he's able to correctly analyze that the real issue is that this shit's expensive. The rising cost of games mean they want to recoup as much money as possible, to the point where Rockstar said, we're not even going to do physical disc anymore. We need as much money as we possibly can because this game costs so much money. So then you would think that he wrote 13 days ago, which is just 2 weeks, barely. You would think he would say, oh, well, the reason why Sony's not releasing game developers or game publishers aren't just releasing on Sony more is because shit's more expensive. So they want to make as much money as possible. And being locked to one console locks you out of potentially more sales. No, it's because they moved to California where everyone's a dirty leftist and they're trying to push their ideals here. And things got worse because they moved to California. Like, this is what I'm talking about. It's like he took a hit of the grifter juice 13 days ago and it wore off 10 days ago, and he made this video and was like, holy shit, I think capitalism's bad and destroying the arts, you guys. And the next video was, never mind, it's because Supergirl's gay.
Everything involved here, it feels more like a financial experiment really than anything else. Rockstar and Take-Two aren't really interested in just selling millions of copies here. They want to see how much more we can charge, what can we get away with, and how much like the players out there are willing to tolerate even. You see,
capitalism.
When GTA 6 succeeds, which it will, who are we kidding, you shouldn't expect what they do or how they do it to really stay a Rockstar strategy anymore. It's going to become the new future for games, and that's exactly why a game like this could change gaming forever, but for all the wrong reasons. In a lot of ways, the AAA industry has kind of created their own monster here. 20 years ago, you would get a new GTA game every few years.
Everything he is describing right here, is a failure of capitalism. In this video, He is somehow able to understand that capitalism has made things objectively worse. But in other videos, he's like, something about wokeness, something about California being where gay people are, and then they're woke, and that's why games do bad. But in this video, he's literally talking about how the AAA industry has become so focused on monetization, they've created a monster due to the creature known as capitalism.
Years, right? Like on the PS2. And those games were obviously made with a few hundred developers at best. Today, that can't happen, like I showed you with Ubisoft and then some. Now we have entire marketing departments that are the size of these entire development studios that would have made games like 15 years ago. You now have entire continents of people collaborating to make one game like GTA 6. And when you and I look at that, we obviously think, yeah, there's no way that this is going to be sustainable, because it isn't. But the guys in the nice suits with the nice shoes and all that will see that and go, see, it worked. It is sustainable. So
capitalism,
keep doing it even more. The problem these days is that every AAA game that gets made has to, let's be honest, essentially save the company that made it from complete financial oblivion, or it's busted.
Now, that statement that he just made, if you watch any of the videos he talks about from Ubisoft, there is no level of analysis that present. Every video he talks about Ubisoft, it's just they're woke. They made Yasuke black and gay. He's not even a real samurai and all this stuff. But he won't say this shit about anything else. Like, it's so infuriating.
Now that every game costs hundreds of millions of dollars to make, or billions plus, I guess, in Rockstar's case, selling well enough is not good enough anymore. You don't just need that success. You need actual domination now. You actually need those Game of the Year awards. You need the record-breaking engagement, the microtransactions, you name it. How this AAA games industry
this is so fucking hilarious to me, dog.
Forward was to bet everything, every single time, on whatever the next game they're making is. And then if it misses
and what's funny to me is he's still not really addressing Rockstar. Like, he's talking around Rockstar, but he's just saying the AAA industry in general. But this is also what Rockstar specifically is doing.
Expectations by even a little bit, everything just implodes, will never make any sense to me. It would be like you and me going to Las Vegas, right? Let's go on the slots. Let's put all our money on red.
This is what Rockstar does. This is exactly Rockstar's model. They bank everything on the next game selling like crazy. That's how they've been operating for years at this point. That's why between 2013 and 2026, Rockstar's released 2 games. And I'm talking about like remasters and what have you and shit. I'm talking like, so we have Red Dead Redemption, that's on PC. Red Dead Redemption 2010. Illinois 2011, Max Payne 2012, Grand Theft Auto 5 2013, Online 2013, Bully Anniversary Editions for Android doesn't count. The VR cases, I mean, I won't count that, but we'll say 2017, RD2 2018, and then the trilogy, and then 6. From Red Dead Redemption 2 in 2018 until 2026. So from 2013 to 2016, basically 2 games. Like actual made games. Not like, oh, here's a anniversary edition, because that's from War Drum Studios. I'm talking like actual, here's a Rockstar game, not a remake or like here's a game we put out. Here's a new game we put out. Literally from 2013 to now, it's Red Dead Redemption 2, and then it's Grand Theft Auto 4 or 5. And the reason I'm calling like this is because if I were to do this for, say, Naughty Dog, I could say Naughty Dog released 7 games and they're all Last of Us remakes. So I'm not going to do that for GTA. So the Definitive Trilogy doesn't count. But what he's describing is literally what Rockstar does.
Wow, we won. Look at that. That's amazing. And then we go, well, we won, so surely we can put this all again on red, right? And just make even more money, right? I mean, maybe, but probably not. Who are we kidding, right? And then what, we go home with nothing? What a great idea. Like, we've watched this happen repeatedly across everything with the industry. Not because developers suddenly forgot how to make games. No, of course not. But because the financial expectations...
Wait, what?
Forgot how to make games. No, of course not.
You have said in multiple videos, these people have forgot how to make games. What did we talk? What?
Because the financial expectations, they're becoming impossible. And the people who run these things, they don't really seem to care. They just want to...
Again, I know I keep going back and forth, but this is really highlighting a point. How are we doing... I keep deleting his channel for some reason. How are we getting this level? This is like me. This is my level of analysis. How are you getting this from Rockstar? But then when you talk about Ubisoft, when you talked about Concord, you talked about all of those things, there was none of this. Ubisoft CEO demands that play here.
Hey everyone, it's Endymion, and today we are looking at what might be the end of one of gaming's biggest companies in recent years. Told that Tencent was looking to buy up Ubisoft completely. And that now seems to be the case. Insider Gaming had an article they just released that confirmed this as well. According to their reports, which then makes my report seem to be more true in retrospect, Ubisoft is indeed in talks to potentially get bought out completely by Tencent. Which would not surprise me in the slightest. As I said in my previous videos, Tencent is one of the biggest gaming Goliaths in the world, responsible for hosting certain games in China and
Yeah.
No, that's still a lot of money, but it's a whole lot less than the over $1 billion they had before when Ubisoft was healthy and not falling apart. One of the things insider...
Oh, I forgot to just fucking ask you. I don't want to watch the video. Let's go here.
Even more people are leaving the company as well. Cameron Lee, the vice president of the Rainbow Six franchise, has also left the company during all of this. Ubisoft's PR teams also say that currently, Cameron Lee's role as VP will not be replaced for the time being either, which kinda just further proves that they know they're cooked, and they know there's no point in hiring someone right now to fill that position if the entire company is about to implode and mass layoffs ensue. I wouldn't be surprised if we see more people leaving Ubisoft in record numbers as well in the coming months. This is beyond a sinking ship. It's like the Titanic hitting the iceberg while having a fully functioning atom bomb in its engine room that's leaking radiation.
But see how he's talking? You see how he's talking about Ubisoft? Like, and then let's go to this part two and we'll go back to the video. But this is important.
Supported your company through all the other various time periods you set those games in. The same players who stuck with you when your company made Far Cry games or bought your crappy microtransactions that, by the way, Ubisoft seems to stuff into even fully priced video games at launch now. You are not entitled to anything but your ability to breathe oxygen, you morons. You can blame Gamergate 2 or whatever you want as your convenient scapegoat as to why things are bad as they seem right now. But know that deep down in your heart of hearts, you know that the reason why things are so bad are because of the activism and the untamed nature that these companies allow crazy people to just run around without consequence.
Activism and letting crazy people run around without consequence. That is what he says when regarding about Ubisoft, but he's making a general statement about the Western game companies, right? That's what he says. But then you get this shit.
Across everything with the industry. Not because developers suddenly forgot how to make games. No, of course not. But because the financial expectations, they're becoming impossible. And the people who run these things, they don't really seem to care. They just want to see the number go, pretty much go up. And the sales just come in like they always do. Now imagine what happens, okay? When GTA 6 launches. Rockstar...
I feel like Hobby Lane, like... But yes, that's exactly that. That's exactly that. Grifting. He's not consistent because he didn't hit his grifter juice in this video. But this is how you know this is a grift. If he's not actively having to shoehorn activism, his brain makes the most basic connections and goes, this is because shit's expensive because these investors want all the money all the time. That's it.
One of the very few companies capable of asking players to actually spend more without triggering immediate collapse, okay? That gives Take-Two, which owns Rockstar, enormous influence, guys. And if players accept an $80 American Standard Edition, or they embrace increasingly expensive premium versions like that $100 Ultimate version, that doesn't just benefit Rockstar, okay? It sends a message to every executive in gaming that will go, look, they accepted it. They bought that thing. They're taking it with open arms. And that's all they're going to need. Suddenly going forward, every publisher is going to conveniently have their excuse. Every boardroom, a nice PowerPoint presentation.
Oh, so you're telling me it's not woke activisms? It's not woke activists? You're telling me it's not DEI? You're telling me it's not any of that shit? You're telling me it's because board members, executives, whatever you want to call them, are only looking at line must always go up to the detriment of the consumers because you guys will buy anything? Oh man, if only there was a somewhat of a system that we utilized that would explain how we got to this point where money becomes the main operating factor, when money becomes the motive. I wonder if there's a system out there predicated on the constant exploitation of individuals through labor and through extraction of said value. I wonder if there's a system out there like that we operate under.
By some intern they don't pay enough, saying actually yes, we should charge more because they're gonna buy it anyways. Then it's no longer a battle of can we raise the prices because some out of touch old guy in a suit will go, well, Rockstar already did it, so why can't we? And then just like that, what was once considered the ceiling in profits, really? Yeah, that now becomes the floor, guys. The ceiling is now the bare minimum, and now everything needs to hit the next ceiling, the next floor up, or it's bust, I guess. What worries me is that
I'm sorry, I can't be facetious anymore. He is just describing capitalism. This is just capitalism. See, this is what happens when you can't grift on something and you have to talk about it honestly. You start to hear a lot of familiar talking points, don't you? You start to hear a lot of the shit that I've been saying coming out of his mouth. So to all the people who are like, I'm the grifter, no, bitch, he's the grifter. I think I've proven that so far. I've always been saying this. He hasn't. I just showed you multiple times where he's completely contradicted himself. But when he doesn't have the grifter juice, this is what happens. You have to make these connections because it's right in front of you.
GTA 6 is not really fixing AAA, but instead enabling them to double down on their worst behaviors. People keep saying that GTA 6 is going to save gaming. I don't know. It might save publisher earnings. Yeah, there's a difference there because the underlying problems don't suddenly disappear. Development is still going to take years upon years to fix. The budgets will spiral. Studios are going to expand, right? Of course, executives will then chase that impossibly golden goose they all want. But what happens in the end? Nothing actually changes.
It's a contradiction to say that games are failing because like activists and then the companies say they are trying to hit a higher profit. Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Exactly. You can't. That's the grift. That's the grift right there. There's the real problem. And then here's what I'm going to say the problem is. I'm going to sell you on rage. I'm going to sell you that the reason why you're feeling like gaming is worse now isn't because of capitalism and these executives wanting to get higher and higher and higher profits and get higher and higher and higher returns to make more money. It's because there's a woman with a piercing who's a game writer. It's because at Ubisoft let woke activists run wild. It's funny how when he has to talk hard about Rockstar, he can't, but in doing so, he's actively revealing his, let's just say, true thoughts on the actual gaming industry. But when it's about a company that's already been determined to be on the anti-woke list, aka Ubisoft, then suddenly all of the issues that are affecting the gaming industry don't affect Ubisoft for the same reasons. Rockstar needs this game to sell 1 million copies or 1 trillion copies because it costs $1 billion to make. But Ubisoft needs Assassin's Creed to sell well because the activist cost them so much money. Other games are following the strategy of let's bet it all on next game to make us all the money and save us, or we're cooked. But if Ubisoft does that, it's because they're just bad at managing stuff. Like, no consistency.
Changes, that's like a good thing, but only real big difference here, well, it's you, dear viewer. Yeah, everybody watching, you're just going to be asked to pay more in the end. That's not even a reform, that's just postponing the inevitable. It's like putting a band-aid from the dollar store on a broken arm and going, well, why isn't it healing it? I put a band-aid on it, I was told that this would work. Oh, what's that? I'm stupid? No, that can't be. It's just the wrong band-aid after all. That's the real problem here. Like before, you would have one studio making a game. I guarantee you with
the real problem is bisexual lighting, not unrealistic expectation. It's bisexual lighting.
Rockstar, the actual way they are doing it is crazy. They probably have like one team that just does cinematics, another one doing animation, another one doing the assets or quality assurance. One just does gameplay and that's it. And the production pipeline has become so enormous that managing it is almost as complicated as building the game itself at that point. And my fear, not really with GTA, but the other games that do try to replicate
not with
it,
GTA,
will happen, is that
Goddamn.
if this ballooning continues the way that it does, creativity is just going to disappear, because there's not going to be nobody who's going to want to, go and say, let's make another game with $500 million or more in development. They're not going to do that. Like I said, okay, this video, it's not me attacking Rockstar.
Of course it's not, because that would actually take balls. Also, this point makes no sense, by the way.
Go and say, let's make another game with $500 million.
Like, it makes no sense. Like, this is not the point you're trying to make doesn't work here.
GTA, but the other games that do try to replicate it, which will happen, is that if this ballooning continues the way that it does, creativity is just going to disappear.
You're saying if the ballooning disappears or the ballooning increases the way that does, that creativity is going to disappear. The reason why creativity would and will disappear is because you're going to become less risk adverse. You're not going to want to make a game that's zany and cartoony. You're going to want to make a game as close to GTA 6 as possible so that you can make as much money as possible. That's what I've been talking about too. The bigger the budgets, the more risk adverse they are. That's why you're going to see less diversity in games. And then what does he say?
Because there's not going to be nobody who's going to want to, go and say, let's make another game with $500 million or more in development.
That would be the opposite reason. That would be why you are going to see more diverse games, because people would be like, hey, you know what? Let's not make a game with $500 million in stake. Let's make a smaller game. And since we're making a smaller game, we can do more zany things because we don't need to make that much of a return. Like, that's the opposite of why that would happen.
Not going to do that. Like I said, okay, this video, it's not me attacking Rockstar or trying to make fun of them. Rockstar has earned their trust for the most part. The scary part here is everyone else, because all the publishers will see when they look at GTA 6 is not go, maybe we should make better games. They're just going to think, maybe we should charge more. Right, that's it. That was the solution all along. We're so smart, guys. But that's the big cataclysmic problem. These other companies.
He's so afraid. He's so afraid. They're all afraid to be like GTA. No, GTA has earned the right. You know who else has earned the right? CD Projekt Red. Because I can just say that, right? You know who else has earned the right? I mean, it's not like GTA put out a game recently that wasn't well received, a remaster recently that wasn't well received. It's not GTA Definitive Edition for Grand Theft Auto and shit for San Andreas. It's not like that wasn't well received. That was also Rockstar, was it not? But regardless, I can just say the same for CD Projekt Red. I could say Sony Santa Monica Studios put that quality stuff. I could say Nintendo, when they make Mario games, they put that quality stuff. So does that not mean they can make games that are $100? Like, that's what I was talking in my other videos. You can't keep making these exceptions because everyone has their own Rockstar. Capcom's been putting out high quality games for years at this point now. They've built people's trust back up. Like, other studios have built people's trust. They put out high quality games.
Or publishers can't copy Rockstar's talent. They're just going to copy their pricing without the same level of talent, quality, or scope behind it. That's always been the problem. Publishers just imitate the revenue models, not really the development philosophy, which means that higher prices spread much faster than, say, higher quality games. We've already seen it happen, haven't we? 60 became 70, now 70 is becoming 80. It's like every year, another layer to this annoying lasagna gets added. And the games industry has spent years convincing itself that bigger automatically means better, but nobody asked if bigger actually made the business healthier. We're watching these studios close, right? Despite successful games, or they're having massive layoffs. Like, look what happened with Battlefield 6, even though it was the biggest game last year. Or
again, this proves how much of a grifter he is. Because yes, he's correctly analyzing that because of these expectations being impossible to reach, most of these games, even if they make financial successes, will never make enough money, so they will close down studios. They will lay off people. So when they start talking about, not just Endymion, but they as in the royal they, the conservatives, when they start talking about like Wagner, who's talking about why, you know, compulsion in studios getting destroyed because they're woke and gay and DEI, you know that's bullshit. Not because I've also said that, but even their grifter sides are like, no, the real reason is because these companies are expecting way too much and they're not being realistic. It's never been about wokeness. It's always been about management. It's always been about expectations. It's always been about financial expectations. It's never been about activism. It's never been about any of that shit. That's why I get so upset when they talk about like, oh, this movie's a flop. This only made $100 million. It's like, it only cost $12 million. This game was a flop. It only sold 10 million copies. There's only 13,000 people playing it. It cost $1,000 to make. You don't know. You don't know how much this shit cost. You don't know what deals they have in place. Like, again, Mina the Hollower sold 500,000 copies. And that was enough to save the entire company. Why? Because their overhead wasn't as much. The game didn't cost them that much to make. It's relative. If GTA sells 500,000 copies, unless it says per second, it is a catastrophic failure. If I make a game that costs $10 and it sells 500,000 copies, I've made crazy profit. It's all relative. But they don't do that shit. They'll just be like, no, this game is a flop. It's this, it's that, without factoring this shit.
You have entire obliterations like, you know, Bungie, for example. God help me what's going on over there too. Now they want us to pay more while still claiming that it's not enough. Like, that's not sustainable, man. Look, Grand Theft Auto 6 will almost certainly be phenomenal. I'm not ever going to say it's not going to be. It's probably going to be an amazing game in every way. I agree with that 100%. Because Rockstar has actually earned that reputation. But the conversation doesn't end there. Because GTA 6, whether they want to admit it or not, is not launching into a healthy industry. It's launching into an industry desperately searching for justification. And if GTA 6 succeeds under those conditions, which it will, who are we kidding? Executives are not going to learn restraint. They're going to learn escalation. And that's pretty much it. Until eventually, the industry reaches a point where making
But he's still trying to cheat GTA as separate from the cause. GTA, Rockstar, he's also one of the big drivers of this model. This didn't just start with GTA 6. This started with GTA fucking 5. If we want to talk about it more holistically. Again, look at the output they had. Look at the output they had prior to that shit, okay? Look at how many new games. We'll start from just the 2000s. Or 1999. We had GTA. GTA 2, 1999. I'm not care about Earthworm Jim now. GTA 2, 1999. You had fine. If we go by just like both, I guess, publisher and developer, you had GTA 2. You had GTA 3, right? You had Max Payne, State of Emergency, GTA Vice City. These were all came out within years of each other. GTA Vice City came out in 2002. GTA 3 came out 2001. From Vice City to even San Andreas, 2005, 2002. You're talking about 3-year gap. And in between that 3 years, Midnight Club 2, Max Payne 2, Manhunt, Red Dead Revolver, right? Even GTA Advanced, done by Digital Eclipse. But you had Red Dead Revolver done by Rockstar. You had Midnight Club 3, 2005. The Warriors, 2005. Liberty City Stories, 2005. You had all this shit coming out. And then by the PlayStation 3 time, GTA 4 came out 2008. Midnight Club came out 2008. That one got this DLC. You had a iOS game came out 2009. Red Dead Redemption came out 2010. You had consistent almost every year or two, the biggest gap being 3 years so far, of a major Rockstar game coming out. Then you had GTA 5. And then their output slows tremendously. Because GTA Online, which is part of GTA 5. Then you just had re-releases. Yeah, GTA 5 come out in 2013. Then you had Red Dead Redemption come out 5 years later. And then their next big game comes out 8 years after that, which comes out 13 years after the last game in the series. If we look at the combined gaps from GTA 5 over, right? So GTA 5 came out in 2013. You had GTA 4 came out 2008. That's 5 years between those ones. And you have, I'll count Liberty City Stories, sure. Liberty City Stories 5 in 2008. So that's what, additional 8 years between 3 games. San Andreas came out in 2005. 11 years. 13 years. So basically, the time between GTA 5 and GTA 6, they released the entirety of GTA, basically, besides for the first game, within that timeline. That's how much they stopped producing. But in that time period, did they stop making money? God, no. They made money hand over fist. They are the reason, they are a big contributor. Not the main reason, but they are a big contributor to the current marketplace, to the current economy of game industry. These big, huge titles. People keep knocking on Naughty Dog for taking a long time. Rockstar takes almost a decade and a half. Almost a decade and a half between 5 and 6. When they were putting out GTA games, multiple GTA games, like basically per console.
Blockbuster games become so expensive that only a handful of companies can even afford to try anymore and be what even is considered a AAA game these days. That's not the future of gaming that we're supposed to have, man. That's the future that corporate management just created because they wanted to. And unless something changes, GTA 6 may not save the AAA industry the way that we want it to. It may simply delay the reckoning while making the eventual crash even more painful. But what do you think? Let me know.
GTA 6 is also culpable for this shit. It's also culpable. I'm not gonna say not the worst Endymion video I've ever watched. I tell you that much. But still, too toothless when it comes to talking about the problems from GTA 5. Like they completely they did this. They did this. They did this, and it's annoying. And it's annoying to see people in this space still be so terrified to just take them to fucking task. That's why I have respect for Naked Jakey. Naked Jakey, Ball Creative. Shout out to Naked Jakey because he also had to take very much in line my own, which is like taking them to task because we should. They are not immune. You know, like they're largely responsible for the shit happening right now, actually. Video games, man. Like it used to be so simple. But I'm glad that the fact that at the very least, we kind of got him to admit that he's a grifter without him realizing it. The Endymion just admitted he's a fucking grifter. I wish they could all make it that easy though. Just be like, yeah, you're a liar because here's your video of you blaming activists for why games are doing bad, and then here's your video actively talking about how it's investors that are the problem. Capitalism is the problem. Sounds like something a certain content creator has always been talking about. Weird.